Welcome along to another episode of, what's the name of our show?
I've forgotten.
It's been too long, friends, but this is Sweet Tea and Coffee, your favorite podcast that never produces an episode. It's good to be back. This is actually episode 78, and we really don't have much of a schedule anymore, do we?
No. The last guest we had talked about beavers and bodybuilding, and so then it just broke the system. So we just had to give up.
That's totally true. Mike broke the podcast.
Blame Mike Smith. That's what John Kennan would say.
It was kind of like a mic drop moment, you know. It's just over, except for in the worst way, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, we got love for Mike Smith. He came in, did a great job, and we just wait around till great guests come along, and then we pick up the mics again and do an interview.
Yeah.
And so we've got a special edition today.
Sometimes we have to import them from other countries.
We went all the way.
Yeah.
To another country for this interview.
Continent
even. Thank you for a little geography.
Yeah, we didn't get a Canadian or anybody in here.
No way.
Yeah.
No Canadian would do. It is time for our very first interview. And you already know the answer to this, but I'm going to give you a little hint. The person that we're interviewing comes from the place that invented the cheese slicer.
I've always wondered who did that.
I mean, did you know? Okay, so that's the first hint. You guys, as listeners, see if you can guess it. Okay, so they invented the cheese slicer. The other really amazing thing that they invented, I don't know. I feel like I might need a little Google fact check here. But the other thing that these fine folks, invented is skiing.
That makes sense.
That seems like a pretty bold claim to say that you invented skiing. That's why I need a little fact check. Blake, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know the place I'm talking about?
I mean, I do.
Why don't you reveal it to our listeners?
I believe it's Norway.
It's Norway.
Yeah.
And we, interestingly enough, have a guest in the studio today, all the way from Norway. Her name is Nora. That's her first name. And she told me that the way that we would say her last name is Herland.
Right.
You can hear her laughter in the background.
It was great.
That's what she told me. I kid you not, Herland is the way that she told me that she would say her last name. And I said, there's no way that that's really true. And so on the other side of the break, you are going to hear how she really says her last name. Not in East Texan, but in Norwegian. Stick around. Okay, as I said, we have Nora Herland, all the way from Norway. It was actually super helpful as I was learning her name. I just always knew Nora from Norway, Nora from Norway. That's how our family learned her name when she came a few years ago. But Nora, we are so glad that you are here spending time with us. And the first thing that the people need to know is how to actually say your last name, because Herland that's just the East Texas version. Let's hear it for real.
Yes. So how I would say it is, I would say Herland.
Yeah. Sounds just like Herland, doesn't it? Just like what I said.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Nora, did you know that about the cheese slicer?
I did know that. But I didn't know it about the skiing.
Really? You knew the cheese slicer, but not skiing?
We're going to do some fact checking.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's some other things you need to know about your wonderful nation.
Okay.
The Winter Olympics.
Yes.
Do you know about Norway's dominance in the Winter Olympics?
I do. We are too good. There's just no competition.
Too good. No competition.
Yeah.
Most medals, more medals than any other country in the Winter Olympics. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, let's keep moving because there are some fun Norway facts.
And by the way, it's modern skiing techniques were developed in Norway sometime in the 19th century, but they date back all the way to 6000 BCE of other Scandinavian countries.
Producer Blake is always on it. Thank you.
Thank you, AI.
I knew we needed some
Google
fact check.
AI.
Yeah, we needed some fact check. This is, I did print this from the homeland, so there may be a little PR spin here.
Okay.
This is a Norwegian website that I got this from. So little spin. Okay. Do you know in the United States, the unofficial Norwegian capital?
Minnesota.
That is so
Yes.
correct.
Wow, she even said it like
She did, like she was from there. It is the unofficial Norwegian capital of the United States. More Norwegians live in Minnesota than any other state. This is interesting. Did you know that Norwegians read more than any other population in the world? Like, they don't listen to audiobooks.
They don't listen to podcasts either.
They don't do that either. They read their books.
Okay.
They shell out an average of $76 per year, US dollars, per capita on books.
They must not be buying those hardback
That
books.
just doesn't seem like very much. That's the
all
most.
paperback. Yeah.
That is the most. They read the most, and they spend $76 a year. I wonder what my Amazon account would have to say about that. I don't know. I feel like I buy a lot of books. But maybe the question is not do you buy books, but do you read them?
Yeah.
Or do you listen to them? Okay, moving along. Okay, there's the cheese slicer. This one is amazing. Okay, what emotion do Norwegians specialize in?
Emotion.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you think, Nora? What emotion are your people the best at?
I don't know.
They are the second blank people on Earth. Finland is first. You ready for this?
Yeah.
According to the Happiness Research Institute, Norway is the second happiest country on the earth.
There you go.
Only
I did
beaten
know that.
by Finland. You did know
I
that?
feel like I've heard that recently.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Is this
Yeah.
a joke?
No, I
You
feel
really
like I
have heard this recently?
I didn't know it was
Happiness
Norway, but I remember
Institute?
hearing a country somewhere in Scandinavia or something like that would, yeah.
Okay,
There you go.
and this is going to be my segue trivia.
Okay.
All right? Because I want to hear if you did this.
Okay.
There's a lot of other really interesting facts that we could go to. I'm getting all of this from fjordtours.com. Again, it may have a homeland spin. Okay. Don't be alarmed, Blake, if you visit Norway and you see an infant sitting outside
Yeah.
in cold temperatures. Norwegians are strong believers in the healing power of fresh air and will often let their children nap outdoors from as young, listen to this, as 2 weeks old, even on cold days.
Yep.
Okay, Nora,
Okay.
did you nap outside as a kid
So
on cold days? Is this real?
I didn't live in Norway when I.
Oh, that's so
I didn't live there, but it is a thing. It is
Okay.
real.
Okay, that is a real thing. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go past trivia and maybe ask you some
get to real
questions.
life here.
Let's get to real life. But that was very interesting. Again, fjordtours.com, and all our Frozen fans will love the mention of
Yeah.
fjord. Mm-hmm. All right. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Okay. Nora, you said you didn't actually spend the first part of your life in Norway. Where did you grow up? Tell me about your childhood and how did you end up in Norway?
Yes. So I was born in Norway. And then when I was maybe 2 weeks or 2 months, I don't remember, 2 weeks or 2 months, we moved to D.C. because my dad was a diplomat in the Navy. And we lived there for 4 years. And then we moved to Long Island for a year. Then we moved to Paris for a year. And then when I was 6, we moved back home to Norway.
Wow. That's a lot of places.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's why I have the American accent. Because I learned the lingo when I was here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so you're saying you moved all the way, you moved back when you were 6 years old. Mm-hmm. Man, so you moved a lot
Yeah.
from birth to 6.
Yes.
There's a lot of change. Okay, so what ended up bringing your family back to Norway?
It was essentially just his time as a diplomat was up. He couldn't be.
Okay.
He had a contract, and then my parents love Norway. Like my dad is a big patriot for Norway, and he wouldn't want to live out for a long time. But I think
He would know the answers to all of those.
Oh, yeah.
All of those trivia.
See, he would make this quiz.
He probably wrote
He
this.
probably wrote
yeah,
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He works for fjordtours.com.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then your formative years were still lived in Norway from when
Mm-hmm.
you were 6 years old. Your family still lives there now. Tell us a little bit about what community did you grow up in? Size of the town, kind of what was life like in your childhood?
Yeah, so I grew up in a city of, I think, 200,000 people. It's the third biggest city in Norway, so I don't know if that tells you anything, but it's not a big,
Interesting.
not a big city country, not a lot of big cities. But I had a really nice childhood. Grew up really close to just the schools, so I didn't really go around town a lot. We were just like in the same areas. Had a great childhood. Did gymnastics for 9 years, and I feel like I had a pretty normal childhood.
Siblings?
I have an older sister and an older brother.
And you fall where in the birth order?
I'm the youngest
You're the youngest. Okay, so you're the baby of the family of three.
of three.
Where are your siblings now?
My brother is in the police academy, and my sister is on her third gap year.
Okay.
Yes.
Both in Norway?
Yes.
Okay.
So she's trying to get into a Navy program.
Okay.
She has to work hard for it.
Yeah, and weren't you telling me that there's it's not mandatory service in the military, but it's mandatory. You're not guaranteed that you'll serve, but it's like a drawing, not a drawing. What's the
It's like a
Draft?
There's a draft. Yes.
But you're mandatory to be in the draft.
to be in the draft.
But you may not get drafted.
Yes,
And that was
so-
your situation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as soon as the year before you graduate, you all have to kind of give information about how active you are. And then right before you graduate high school, they tell you if you are going or not going into the military for 1 year, just 1 year.
Okay. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about in your community that you grew up in of 200,000. What's the name of the?
Bergen.
Bergen. Herland. we gotta.
Wasn't there some sort of Frozen connection or something?
Not to Bergen.
Okay.
Bergen is Arendelle. No, Frozen is Arendelle.
Oh, I was
Yes.
gonna say. Wait a minute. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I thought there was something Frozen related to where you lived or something like that.
Blake's a girl dad, and so
Yeah.
he's got a lot of Frozen knowledge.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So talk a little bit about what was faith like in your community as a whole,
Oh,
and then what about your family? Christians in your family? Did you grow up in a Christian environment? What was that like in the community you grew up in?
Yes. So my grandpa was a Baptist pastor, actually, and my grandma was a Baptist wife. And when they were like in their prime time, they were moving all around the country to help establish Baptist churches. But my dad didn't really catch on to that later in life. So my family, besides them, aren't believers and weren't believers. And my grandparents died when I was pretty young. So I didn't really have that opportunity to be poured into as much as I would love to like talk to them about it now. So I never grew up with faith. I was never a believer. I was baptized as Lutheran, and I was confirmed Lutheran, which is just a tradition every Norwegian child goes through. Yes. But then I never had any faith, and I kind of got into just a season in your teenage years where you did all the fun things and lived a crazy life. And then I came here for my exchange year when I was 17.
Okay. Now hang on a second.
Yeah.
Okay. You just moved really fast. Okay. So at what point, I mean, that's a pretty big leap, a pretty big, going out on your own to think about, okay, I'm going to not just move away from my family, but I'm going to move very, 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 very far,
Yeah.
from my family. When did the idea of doing something like that first start to pop up in your mind?
So my sister did an exchange year through her school, and she went to Ohio through a very specific program. And I wanted to do the same as she did.
She had a good experience?
Not really. She would say it was an okay experience, but she wouldn't want to go back or like do it over again. But it was essentially kind of just the situation of life I was living in. I really realized that I just don't want to live this life anymore, and felt like that was my only outway of just getting a fresh start and having a break from that life. So that made me like be on fire for the possibility of going to America.
Really, just to escape?
To escape, yes.
Was it more escape surroundings or was it more escape people or kind of all of that mixed up? Just I'm probably running with the wrong crowds, into the wrong things. If I can just make a clean break, then maybe things will be different. It
was more of a I need to figure out what I want and who I am, because I was so just connected to so many people, and I went to a private school, and we were all so cool and awesome and went to all the crazy parties, and I just realized that was something that really, after a while, got so like ached my heart. I didn't want to do that anymore. And that's a really hard transition, having all your friends do that, and then suddenly something is telling you that this is not right, and you need to find, like, maybe you should go on an exchange year. Now I feel like that was just the Holy Spirit, because I was like on fire for doing all those things, and suddenly I just didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to be in the rooms. I didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore.
It's interesting you use the word sudden.
Yeah.
Was it really that overnight? Or
it was
you
really.
went from one day that was the life you wanted to live.
Yeah.
And then the next day you wake up and, oh my gosh, now none of that really satisfies me anymore. And it was that.
It was very
change.
Yeah, it was really overnight for me. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you how. It's just really everything changed for me at a certain point. Yeah.
Wow. And so after that change, the only thing you know to do is I gotta just get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here in order to figure out who I am, what life is gonna look like. That's kind of your state of mind.
Yeah.
What made you think, all right, I'm gonna go live in the United States? Or were you just gonna go, I can go anywhere? I don't know. What was the nature of the program?
So essentially I wanted to go. I could go anywhere. But I wanted to go to America because I had that previous connection to America. I'd always loved America. Like, that was always just because it was such
you lived here, it was familiar to your family. And, okay.
So I wanted to come here. This was like the only place I wanted to go.
And most of the time when people, that have never been here before, they think, I want to go to America, and the place that they think of is Nacogdoches.
Yeah,
why not? Common.
Why not?
We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm obviously
it's not Lubbock, I can tell you.
Wow! I didn't see.
It's been
I wasn't prepared for that.
I had to throw my West Texas shade in there.
I wasn't prepared for that.
No shade in West
We
Texas.
will have to circle back and talk to her about coffee, because this is another thing that Norwegians love is coffee. Apparently, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like we're already there.
Let's pause.
Okay.
Talk to me a little bit about, so we have this thing here in Texas.
Yes.
And really, the whole South tries to claim it, and I don't know whether or not that's, Blake, the historian, could probably help me out here. But in the South, and in Texas in particular, a really big deal here is sweet tea.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Oh, it's such a thing.
And Blake will someday on the pod have to actually, I can't believe we haven't done this, but give us the history of the development of sweet tea and why it's a thing.
I have to do some research on that.
But it has become a thing. Yeah. So, have you had sweet tea?
I have had sweet tea.
Okay, so you've had the experience. We ask people on the podcast, sweet tea or coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
Wow. Okay.
No, but I would choose coffee because I just can't do sweet tea.
It's just too much.
It's just too much.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I have to find the right sweet tea now. I went to a restaurant yesterday, and that tea, it hurt. Like
it hurt. It was so good.
It was like a Mexican food restaurant, oddly enough.
Interesting.
It's super sweet tea. Like
everybody has sweet tea.
Kind of thing
that's just a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Norwegians and coffee that's a big deal. It is a big thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was in my again fjordtours.com. Okay. Back to the story.
Yes.
So you are preparing then, I want to go to the United States. I need to get away. I need to get escape. Kind of need to figure out who I am. How did you wind up in Nacogdoches? Because that's an interesting road.
Yeah. So essentially, I decided I didn't want to pick where to go because this was really fresh. I was one of the last people who signed up.
So you could have picked?
You can pick.
Interesting.
Well, you can pay for it to be, for your name to be like high up on it in the list of LA or New York. And obviously I wanted to go to LA or New York or just a big city. Didn't want to go to Texas. Last place I wanted to go was Texas.
Now, was that for any reason or just you just wanted to go to those bigger, more popular cities?
I just had this idea of Texas being like...
Okay, tell us
Yeah,
about
yeah,
we got to
yeah.
do this.
So there's a phrase we use in Norway, and it's called, it's completely Texas in here. So if something is crazy, like if something crazy is happening, my dad says this all the time. He'll say, it's completely Texas in here.
Wow.
So when you think of Texas...
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Translate that phrase. What does that mean?
It means like... say you had a kid's party, like Sarah's birthday, and she wasn't going to have a birthday party, and then you leave 10 seconds, and then when you come inside, the whole house is just messed up. Then you would say, it's completely Texas in here.
Wow.
Wow.
Sorry,
Yeah.
There's all kinds of misunderstandings of Texas.
Well, I was going to say, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
all over the world.
So that was the only context you had for Texas was that phrase.
Yes,
But then you
and-
thought about Texas and what image was in your mind?
It was like cowboys, like dirt. It was just so much like sand. I just thought it was like...
That's Lubbock.
like
Where I used to live.
That's the part we're
true.
talking about.
I just thought it was like the Western movies.
Yeah.
That's all I knew about Texas. So obviously I didn't want to go there. So, but then I ended up being placed in Crockett.
Okay.
Okay, so what was your reaction when you
Yes.
saw that you were, not only were you going to, well, what was your reaction when you saw you were going to Texas? Did you cry?
Well, I did cry.
It's okay.
I did cry. I did cry because I got the news a week before I had to leave.
Wow.
Yes. And initially, my dad, as every dad, Googles Crockett and shows me pictures. And there's no pictures to show. Like, there is nothing.
There's not a lot.
There's
yeah.
nothing.
We don't make it a
Houses.
practice of throwing other communities under the
No,
bus,
yes. But there was just not a lot.
It's on the way to somewhere else.
but yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot to do in Crockett. And he like did his research and he was like, don't go.
Oh,
But
wow.
I said, yeah. He was like, don't go. We'll figure out a different place. But I said, I've already gotten this far. Let me just go. I'm sure it's great. Let me go. And I went and I had a bad experience at the school. And I had some experiences with the family. And then Autumn Sharp was my coordinator. So she was kind of in charge of me. And she invited me to spend the night at her house for one night. And that night,
So she goes and gets you from Crockett.
well, the woman I was staying with, she
Okay.
took me.
Okay.
And I come into her home, the most peaceful home I've ever been in. Just like weight off my shoulders. And that night, she and Sam decide that they're going to host me from then on.
Okay, so they steal you from Crockett.
So they steal me from Crockett, and that's how I ended up in Nacogdoches.
Okay, now at this point, you're how old?
17.
You're 17. You're not just new in the States. You're new in Texas, new in Nacogdoches. And this is in Norway, this would have been your considered your junior year, right?
Yes.
But it was you went through Nacogdoches as a senior. Is that right? It was kind of a...
I would be a senior, but I wasn't allowed to graduate here because we had that
Okay.
13th year.
Okay. So they considered it your junior year. Okay. How was that? How was your...
It was good. It was good. I made some great friends that I'm still friends with today.
That's great.
Yeah. But it was definitely a culture shock. Like the
Yeah.
way you do school here is so different from
Yeah.
the way we do school.
What was the most surprising thing? What was the biggest culture shock piece that you experienced?
The like control. Like you follow the bell. If you come late, you get a tardy. The hall pass. the like system, it was so systematic.
Interesting.
Like every time the bell rang, you had 5 minutes to get to your class, and everyone was just like going to class. It was like, for me, it was crazy to look at people just like in and out of class. Like it was automatic. But at home, in my school, we have the same subject the whole day. It's like I'll do English one whole day.
And then the next day is math, and the next day.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there's not a bunch of class changing.
Mm-mm. And it's very lenient. Like there's a lot of trust in you doing your work, and like it was just really different.
Yeah. Well, something. I mean, so let's go kind of track back to where you were. Let's say spiritually. Mm-hmm. You came here with questions, big questions, big gaps.
Yeah.
You know, who am I? Why? What is important in my life, and where's my life going? And you come to Nacogdoches. You experience an extraordinary hospitality.
Yeah.
With Sam and Autumn, and you're going to school. What was shifting and forming in you as it relates to kind of some of those bigger questions? Yeah.
So essentially, before I came here, I would probably be considered one of the biggest critics of the Christian walk, like the
Why
Christian
is that?
faith. Because in middle school, I went to a Christian private school just because it was a good school. And for some reason, because of the life I was living, their way did not align with my way. And therefore, I hated their way. And I felt like it was wrong because I thought that my way was right. And so when I came here, I would argue with Autumn a lot. And it wasn't like argue, we would fight, but it would be like, why do you believe in something so silly? Like, I would think that all Christians were uneducated. It's just my automatic thought process. And she showed me that being a Christian was not about intellect. Like, it had nothing to do with how much you knew. It was about the person that you were. And I obviously was not a person I wanted to be. That's why I left in the first place. And she kind of was a person who was so confident in who she was and everything she did because she knew that she had the Spirit in the way she walked. And just her love and care. I'd never been loved by a complete stranger the way she loved me.
Wow.
And then she introduced me to other believers, and the way they loved me was so foreign to me. Like, so foreign. I would never love someone the way they loved me at that time. And I remember telling you about my experience here at church. My first time at church, I remember I sat at the back of the church, and you were preaching, but I didn't hear a word you were saying. Like, so surreal. Couldn't hear anything you were saying. And I just started sobbing. Like, just crying. And I could not figure out why this church was making me cry, because I didn't want to cry. Like, this is not like the time and the place to cry. And that was a really special moment for me. And it was a really a moment I questioned. Why am I in a church? Why am I crying in a church? Church doesn't mean anything to me. But there was a spirit in the church. And the Spirit of God, like, truly, like, just met me in that time when I was really, really struggling with being here and my experience in Crockett. And there was just, and then I continued to debate because I didn't want to believe. I even remember I, like, would read the Quran, like, the Quran, just to, like, prove Autumn that it's not right. Like, there are other ways, or, like, try to, like, misprove what she's trying to tell me. And then I had some experiences that I couldn't explain. And then I remember for weeks I would go around just constantly thinking, like, I could not think about anything else than just, like, why is Jesus on my mind? Why is he on my mind? How do I not have enough self-control to control my mind? was my thought. Like, how can I not? I can control everything in my life, but how am I not able to control my mind? And I remember sitting on the staircase and I was like crying to Autumn saying, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't have control. Like, I'd completely lost control of my mind because I did not want to believe. I didn't want to. And I remember going up to my room and I dropped to my knees. And for me, I would never do that. Like, I would never do that, but I did. And I sobbed and I cried and I prayed. And I said, you are just on my mind all the time. So if you are who you say you are, just let it be known and let me have peace. And I got super tired and didn't think anything of it, just went straight to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, I kid you not, I jump out of bed and I only have one thought, single thought in my mind. And it is that I am Lord. Like, my mind, the only thing in my mind, hence, like, think about, I've had so much warfare in my mind. And that morning, I wake up and there's no other thought than just like, I am Lord. And I knew from that point on that it was real, because there's no way that the person who did not want to believe suddenly just has one thought, and that is that Jesus is Lord. And I knew it because I wasn't going to call myself crazy. And from then on, everything changed for me.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
Wow. So you wake up that, I mean, what do you do if that's the thought in your mind? Is it just, you go talk to Autumn and go,
Yeah.
what does this mean? I mean, what is your response after that? I mean, that's such a unbelievable level of clarity. Jesus is Lord, and you know it for certain. You wake up with that level of clarity. The war is over.
Yeah.
You know it. So what do you do?
I go to Autumn and I say, like, Autumn, like, it's real.
Wow.
I don't even say I think it's real. It's like, it's real. And she just, like, knowing that she'd prayed for me so much, just looks at me, gives me a hug and says, like, of course it is.
Yeah.
Like, of course it's real.
Wow.
And she was so patient with me.
Yeah.
Like, so patient. And after that, I, like, ran through the gospel. Like, every night, just, like, read the whole New Testament in probably, like, a month or two. It was just like, I need to understand this now. Because at that point, I only knew one thing, and it was that he was Lord. But, like, who is my God? Like, who is he? And I need to learn everything I can about who he is. Obviously, reading the gospel in 1 month is not going to educate you on everything about, like, you don't learn everything about the
Sure.
New Testament. But
you were hungry.
I was.
I want to know him more. Wow.
I was, and it changed a lot in my life. Like, completely there were just radical shifts in just the way I wanted to live my life. And just from then on, I knew that's why I was here. That was my purpose here. And it was to find Jesus and to learn about who he was. And I'm so grateful, like, so grateful for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're getting close now to the time where I get to meet you for the first time. Start to hear rumblings of your story and the things that are going on. I think the first time I really met you in person, maybe I could be wrong on this, but I think it was the day of your baptism.
Yeah, it was.
Was maybe the very first time I'd met you. I'd heard your story. Obviously, it had come through. You had been spending time with Emily on our staff, Emily Singer, and so talk me through just what that day was like. Your baptism. That was not long before you were scheduled to go home.
Yeah.
Right. It was at the very end of that of your time here.
Yeah.
And you were baptized here. Take us kind of through that day and what that was like for you.
So, obviously being baptized in that church to me, because is like my church, like it's my home. Like Fredonia Hill is like my first church and my first love for a church. So being baptized here was a priority for me, because I didn't want to go home and be baptized in a place where none of my friends or family understood. And I wanted to be around people I loved, and I wanted to be in a church that I trusted. But I did think it was really scary that I was the only, or there was the other girl getting baptized. But I remember I was like, wow, there are only 2 of us getting baptized today. And I was so nervous because everyone was going to see me get baptized. I told Autumn, I would, my dream would be just like me, Kendall, and you in the back getting baptized. But it was really special to me. And I've, getting to know the people in Revive, them telling me that they remember my baptism is so special to me. Like, wow. It's so special. And it was a really special moment for me. Yeah. Because it was just a very defining moment. Yeah. And it is a very defining moment in people's faith, to just have that physical aspect of being baptized. And yeah.
So then comes the moment where you got to go back home.
Yeah.
And you're going back to a place where, in terms of the environment that you'd created for yourself, the priorities that you used to have, I mean, I'm sure friendships, everything now for you has changed. Your whole life is flipped upside down, but nobody there knows about it.
Yeah.
And so you're quite literally going back as a transformed person.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what Jesus tells Nicodemus. You're going to be born again, a whole new life from above.
Yeah.
And you experience that here. And so you're going back born again, brand new, and full of God's Spirit, and walking with Jesus, loving Jesus. What was re-entry like as you closed down your time here and then moved back home? I
was still in that stage of like being on fire for the Lord, like newly getting to know the Lord. Because so when I came home, my friends had this surprise for me at the airport. And when we got home to my house and we had dinner, I remember we sat down on the couch and I said, they were like, what was the craziest thing that happened to you? It was the craziest thing you experienced. And this was my entry to like tell them all what had happened to me.
Wow.
And I said, the craziest thing that happened was that I became a follower of Jesus. And you don't hear that a lot in Norway. And a lot of people were just like kind of set back. My 2 best friends, they knew because I'd told them prior, but everyone was just like, wow, like that was not what we thought you were going to say. And we had a debate, like all of us. And I could just tell that moment that they'd never heard like any of their friends say anything like that before. And they wanted to understand and they wanted the knowledge, because there was an obvious change from the day I got home, from who I was before to who I was when I came home. And that was a big struggle. The biggest struggle was, we're so excited and we're anticipating Nora's homecoming because we're so ready for her to be a part of all the things we do now. We've missed her. But they missed the person who I no longer was. Mm-hmm. So I had to reintroduce myself to them. Wow. And that was really hard for them to understand. It was hard for them that I set boundaries in what I wanted to do and didn't want to do. And they said, well, why do you think that you're better than us? Like, why do you think that you are better than this life? And having to explain that being a new believer is really hard, because you don't have that knowledge yet. You can't just combat it with scripture. You just have to you wing it and try to explain it the best you can. And that was a really hard process. And a lot of friendships changed from being, you're so much fun, to being, You don't do anything anymore. You don't come to anything anymore. Are we even friends anymore? And I said, yes, we are friends, but let's do something else. Like, let's be friends in a different arena than where you want to be friends. And that was hard. But I am blessed with the fact that I was able to stay strong in my faith, because it's not easy. It is so hard. And I found a good church community. But even the church was hard to adapt to, because it's so different from here.
Yeah.
And obviously living in a household where no one believes, that's also really hard, having those conversations, I remember being like persecuted a lot for the obvious questions people ask Christians, like, why do you believe this? And why do you believe this?
Yeah. Sounds like even some of the same questions and assumptions that you had made even before were now challenging you from people you knew. Yeah.
And a very close person in my life kind of asked me, like, so what's really changed? And I told her, and then she asked the questions of like, well, do you believe in this? And is this okay? Is this wrong? And I said what I believed. And she said, Nora, this whole year has completely brainwashed you.
Wow.
And hearing that from someone who you consider one of your closest people is really hard.
Yeah.
But it was refreshing to know that at least she sees a change. Like, at least there's a change, because I did not want to be, and I decided before I came home, I'm not going to be the Christian who adapts to their way. And I don't want them to have to be surprised when I say I'm a Christian. Like, when I meet new people, I don't want them to be like, oh, I would never have known. I would have never thought you were going to be a Christian. Wow, what a surprise. I didn't want that. I wanted them to see that and just acknowledge the difference, because that was important to me, because that's what Autumn did for me. She was such a radical, different person.
Wow.
So why wouldn't I be radically different?
Yeah. Wow. So how long, I know that during that time you were back home, you were maintaining contact, obviously with friendships here with Autumn and Emily, I think primarily were kind of the two. At what point did you kind of start thinking about coming back? I think, and I don't necessarily mean just in terms of, pursuing our, kind of our hybrid program that we sort of created for you to fit in. But, so I don't mean as much that, but there was a sense in which you were desiring more training.
Yeah.
You were wanting to know, okay, what does God have for my life now in the future? Now that that everything has changed, a sense of wanting to be trained for use in the kingdom, and how can I do that, and how can I even, understand what God's calling my life is? When did those kind of start becoming some of the questions that you had?
So that probably started halfway through the year. In Norway, a lot of people take gap years. So me and all my friends were taking gap years, and I was figuring out, what am I doing this year? And initially I told Emily I want to do YWAM. I want to do DTS, which is Disciple Training School. I wanted to go to Australia for, I think it's 2 months, and then be on mission for 3 months. And she was kind of the first person I talked to who said, like, hold up. She said, why do you want this? And I really had to like reflect on, why did I want exactly this?
Yeah.
And a lot of me was like, well, a lot of people I know at my church did it, and it's like on the beach because it's in Australia. It's like, it'll be really cool. But she said, she made me reflect on the fact that, like, I've been through such a tough year, and now I have 2 months of training to be a disciple, and then 3 months of missions. And missions for 3 months is hard. And essentially she kind of made me think about, well, do I need to be poured into? Like, what do I need? And maybe I want to do missions, but is that what's right for you right now? And I started thinking about that, and I like realized that I need to like learn. I don't need to like try to preach to more people and have that be my main source of, like, I need to learn before I can teach. And she started talking about armor bearer, and she said that kind of just that close mentor, but also like being in ministry would be something that you could really benefit from. And so we talked about that, and then I signed up for the armor bearer program when the armor bearers had already been chosen.
Yeah.
Or like it was just really late. And I was like sad, but Melina told me, she was like, don't let this, like, just don't think about this right now. I will see if we can figure something out. If I can't, then I can. If I can, then I can. And you did. And you created this beautiful program for me to just learn, but also with close like help, be able to like learn how I can minister to others, but just not on my own, because I did not need to like try to minister on my own.
Yeah. So this is just giving people kind of an idea of what this journey has been like. Because of visa stuff, we had a limited amount of time that we could deal with, and so we had a period of about 3 months.
Yes.
And we created. You're familiar. Listeners are probably very familiar with our Armor Bearer program that lasts anywhere from 1 to 2 years. It's typically undergraduate students that take that program, and they go through a formational year where we're trying to invest in them in a way that forms them as individuals. Their character, their walk with Jesus. We do that through their housing. We do that through mentorship relationships. But then we also want them gaining ministry experience and starting to just discern their skills and giftings and how God wants to use them as kingdom leaders in the future. That's really the vision of the Armor Bearer program. We're in the process of trying to figure out what a residency program looks like, which is a little more elevated time commitment for people that really would say, they want to be in vocational ministry, and it's a little more dialed in terms of that kind of training. And we were on the whiteboard in terms of the development of our residency, and we said, look, we've got this great opportunity with Nora to kind of create a hybrid. It'd be a short term residency armor bearer, but we could have her full time focus. We don't really get that with armor bearers, but we would have with a residency you would have that full-time focus. And so that was kind of what we came up with. And you are, we're doing this interview in November. It's November 12th that we're sitting down for this interview. Nora's just a few short weeks away from this time concluding. And I would just be curious, Nora, just as you are coming to the end of this training period, what have you gained? I mean, I know that's such a huge, broad question, but what would you say, what elements of what God is doing in your life, and in what ways has God refined his call in your life? What, if anything, has become clearer to you during this time?
I think the thing that has been made most clear to me is that I have a heart, and I feel like I have a calling to minister to the people who were like me. And I think that I have a very good opportunity to do that, because I can relate to them and I can see them, and then I can educate them and love them, and kind of just like replicate what was done to me and do that to others. But I don't know what else I want to do and what to do with that. And that's my journey now. This last month is just like, what are my plans when I get home? Like, what do I want to do? 'Cause like, this is the time to make decisions of, what do you want to do with your life?
Yeah.
And obviously your whole life is not planned out when you're 19, but there's an aspect of figuring out what way you want to go.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. And I feel like just this time working at the church has strengthened just an armor of God. And it's ironic because the Armor Bearer program, but I do think that has strengthened me a lot and has just shown me so many different scenarios, just shown me how even working behind the scenes in ministry is. Yeah. Has just been like amazing. And being so close to such strong believers and people who work in ministry and just 24/7 them being on, just being able to respond to every question I have and everything, every struggle I have, there's always someone with so much wisdom to answer. And I don't know, just being able to be in every ministry, being able to be an open door. Like Open Door has been very eye-opening for me. And being in Revive, like it's just seeing the college students here is just so refreshing. And it makes me hopeful for Norway. And it just makes me want to make an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've got two kind of final questions and thoughts. And I think the first would be, our church in these 2 short periods where we've been lucky enough to be able to get to know you and have you around, certainly fallen in love with you and your story, and so excited to see all the things that God has done in your life, really in both. It's been so cool to see both of these phases,
Mm-hmm.
Phase 1 when you were in high school and phase 2 now. And so our church is obviously highly vested in your future. How would you, and a lot of people that listen to this podcast are obviously part of our church. And so how would you ask for those people that are listening now, how would you ask them to pray for you as they think of you in this next season as you get ready to conclude here? How would you direct the specifics of their prayer for you?
Wow. I think that what I'm praying for is just discernment on where is my ministry. Because obviously as Christians, we have an obligation to minister everywhere we are. But I want to figure out if my calling is to be in ministry or to minister to others in a different vocation or in a different area or space. And I think also just prayer for just like steady strength. Because that is something that is just so important. Like just having that, just not having that fluctuation, even though that's normal in your faith. But just when I get home, I just want to be like so steady. And I want to have as much knowledge as possible so I can answer as much questions and I can minister to as many people as I can. And I want to be able to give them good answers about who Jesus is. And I want it to be nuanced, and that is what I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to read all the books that Melina is giving me. But yeah. Yeah,
that's good. That's helpful. I would just encourage you as you listen, just to, even where you are, just stop and take a minute and pray for those things very specifically. And then, Nora, I would just say last, we got a wide group of people that listen to this podcast, and I don't know, there may be somebody that's listening to this that would find themselves right where you were. You said a minute ago that your heart is to, and that you're your ministry at this point seems to be to go back into the places where you were, and be a light in places where you were. So I want to set up a scenario for you, and let's just say somebody it's listening to this interview really identifies with the things that you've said before. If they were to say, that's right where I am, I'm kind of right in that spot where she was, kind of feeling lost and but not really knowing what next steps would be. And what would you, if that person sat down with you and just said, I'm right where you were, what do I do? Help me. What kind of advice or direction or encouragement would you give to somebody that finds themselves in the place where you were just not that long ago?
I would say don't run away. I was blessed with the household that I lived with. I didn't have an opportunity to get away and to distance myself. And when you're in a situation and in a time where you don't know, it's hard to take a step back or feel like you're not good enough. So let me just not seek community. Let me not be in that. Let me just try and figure it out on my own. And that is a very scary place to be, trying to figure out the things on your own. Yeah. I have a friend who, when I came home, I tried to minister to them, and he kind of decided to run away from it. And he said, I had to make a choice, and it just seemed less worth it to follow Jesus than it was to keep the life I was living. Wow. And that is something that's such a real thing, because I thought about that. But thinking about that and being in that community with Autumn, and obviously I was in a community group too, a college group, did not give me that opportunity to say no and to run away and to hide. And that is just like my prayer for everyone who is in the situation. Like, do not try to isolate and don't try and figure it out on your own, because you're gonna, not necessarily, but it's easy to choose the life that you're used to when you isolate.
Just because it's comfortable.
It's comfortable. And it's what you know, and it's something so foreign. Like, Jesus was so foreign to me. And when something is so foreign to you, you're not going to want to pursue it, because it is hard. And that is why you need people around you. And you need to fight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
Wow. That's so helpful. Man, we can't tell you how much we've enjoyed having you on the podcast, and just having you here as part of our family. Just a gift that we've been able to get to know you, and certainly get to cheer for you as things go on. I don't know. We'll invent some other program.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get you back over here.
Where we can get you back. Listen, I hope that you know more about Norway than when you started listening to this podcast. But I also pray that you've been encouraged, that you've been challenged, and I would say, if you're one of those folks that finds yourself where Nora was, I just pray that you have heard her encouragement and that you will lean into community. And I would just say this: look, if that's you, and you've really heard what Nora said about being around community as you're processing these things, here's what I would tell you to do. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Stop whatever you're doing. Send us an email. You can email us.
You can email us.
Where do they email us?
stc@fredoniahill.org.
Okay, and just in case you don't know, Fredonia Hill is FREDONIA. It's Fredonia Hill, HILL.org. Okay, so it's stc@fredoniahill.org. Send us an email and just say, hey, that was me. Nora's testimony really spoke to me. I'd love to get connected with people that can help me sort this out. We would love to meet you. Yeah. Love to get connected with you. So pull over, stop the car,
Yeah. Hey,
Send the email.
Speaking of email, we're 78 episodes in.
Come on.
Let's add a new segment right now.
Okay.
Because it's been May since we last released an episode, and we actually do have a handful of emails. I just want to highlight a few of them.
Yeah, get to this. Yeah.
So we're going to go back. The last episode that we had was Mike Smith.
Yep.
And we had several people email about Mike's episode. And it wasn't complaining either, which was great. It was very encouraging.
Yeah.
And some of these were our educators. Mike was a former educator. And so Blake Waller, he sent in just said how encouraging.
Blake's such a friend of the pod.
He is. He's a top emailer.
Top friend of the pod.
And then Alicia Murray as well. She mentioned Andy's episode because Andy was right before that. Allison Hafner, staff member, said that she enjoyed she got recommended Mike's episode and went and listened to that. Some encouraging wisdom that she found in that. And then lastly, a former staff member, Areli Victorio, has been at her new job.
Binging STC.
She's been binging STC, and she sent me a photo of a notepad where she has written out the number for every episode, and she's like crossing them off the list as she goes.
I love it.
Through all of it again, and she's requested that Josh come back on the episode or on the podcast again. So
big shout out to one of the greatest staff members of all time, and just an all around hero, Areli Victorio, and now a friend of the pod.
She's a friend of the pod now, for sure.
That's cool, man. That's way cool. And seriously, anybody else, if you have feedback, thoughts from this episode, let us know what those are. We're so encouraged by that. Nora certainly we will pass those things along to her. She would be encouraged to hear from you. Yeah. And listen, just this podcast is the little engine that could. Okay, when we're gonna keep on trying, we're gonna keep on. We're gonna keep on going.
We forgot about you, but we didn't.
We don't forget. But we're trying. So hopefully there will continue to be a steady drip of new
when I was a kid,
episodes.
I would watch the James Bond movies, the old, Sean Connery ones. At the very end, the very last thing after the credits would be James Bond will return. And so we could put that at the end. Sweet tea and coffee will return.
Will return. Hey, thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Adios.